Hello everyone, I'm RecB5.
And I am Sandman99.
And welcome back to Diablo Solo Warrior PC playthrough.
Yeah.
Now I know we killed Diablo last time.
But he's back.
Yes, he's back. So we're going to go and kill him again on Nightmare difficulty.
He's back and he's badder than ever.
That's right. And so I actually did set up another computer in order to hold the game open now on Nightmare difficulty.
Yeah.
So it's this game right here, and I think it would even tell you, yeah, it's a Nightmare difficulty game if I force the screen to refresh by mousing over it. Another Linux bug. Have to mouse over the screen in order to get it there. And I just have it held open with like a random rogue that I had from like, I don't know, 10 years ago. That I never completed Nightmare mode with. So we'll have to try to join this game a couple times before it will actually let us in. And now it will let us in. I don't know why it's like that, it just is. Sometimes you just have to try multiple times to join a game. But now this lady here, she's gonna hold the game open for us forever. So I don't have to worry about leaving my desktop computer on anymore. I can just have her stand there.
Wow, that's some trick. And she's not actually in the game, right?
Well, technically she's in the game, yeah.
But she won't follow you when you go into the dungeon or anything like that.
No, because she's another player on another computer, technically.
Wow. Okay.
Right? This is what multiplayer looks like on the PC version. You both have your own two separate screens.
Yeah.
And you move around independently of one another. That's why it's better than the PlayStation version.
Oh.
That's why I've been trying to convince you to learn how to play mouse and keyboard with me.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
Hey, it could happen. I still have hopes.
Never happen. I will never learn mouse and keyboard.
Don't be so dogmatic.
I will miss out on Morrowind forever because there's no controller support.
Don't be so dogmatic.
I'm not dogmatic, I'm just realistic. If I'm constantly struggling to find what keys to press and looking down at the keyboard instead of looking at the screen, I'm not going to be able to play very well.
You'll get used to it. Besides that, I think you'd play just as well as you did on PlayStation version.
Yeah, well, that's not saying much.
Hey, it would be still good enough for me.
No.
I'm happy to play this game with anybody.
I have had enough Diablo. I think I'm perfectly happy to sit back as a spectator and, a commentator now.
Blessed Shield of Structure.
Whoa, what can I do for
That might be worth buying.
All I know is that through some sort of technical wizardry, you're using your server network that you have set up. Basically, right?
No, actually, this is just the local multiplayer LAN mode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Technically, this is a LAN game.
On the Wi-Fi, then.
That's right.
Oh, so you have another laptop set up with the game open
That's
on
right.
it.
That's right.
And you just leave that game open on that laptop all the time.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, and actually, currently I have it running on a different laptop, but then I have this old Compaq R4000 laptop from like 2006 or whatever. It is like a single-core 64-bit CPU, and I'm going to get the game running on that and swap that one in, because I'm not using that one or anything.
Yeah, well, the next thing you know, you'll get it running on that Raspberry Pi of yours or something.
Ah, believe it or not, Raspberry Pi can only emulate a 486 right now, so it can't play this game.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the disappointing part. I'm buying this shield, though, because that's an Armor 25 shield-ish, and that will help a lot.
All I know is you've got more computers than most people.
Yeah, well, that's because instead of throwing them away when they're obsolete, I actually just save them and repurpose them.
Yeah. Well, you can do that if you're a Linux OS using type person.
That's right, because I can just keep installing the OS on as many machines as I want. I mean, it does get harder every year with the old machines, like that Compaq, because Linux does itself get bigger and more bloated, just at a much slower rate than Windows does. But, you can still do it, and still make use of older hardware. I mean, almost all the computers I own, except for this gaming desktop, are second-hand computers, right? It's just far more price efficient, and if you want a lot of computing devices anyways, that's how you get them. And then you can have servers, and you can have a gaming desktop, and you can have multiple laptops for testing code on multiple setups.
Yeah. Yeah, because your server is basically just an old desktop too, right?
That's right. My server is just an old desktop.
Just has a lot more storage capacity than most.
That's because I just keep throwing hard drives in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a new shield now. I'm going to sell this Gothic shield. because the armor class boost on that is 136 to 145.
Whoa, what can I do for you?
I don't remember the last time I saw you have so much room.
Yeah, well, that's because I haven't for a long time. Now, I'm not quite sure what exactly else is going on here. I need to get a better helmet,
Whoa, what can I do
but I
for
don't
you?
think there's one for sale right now. I could try to force a refresh there, but I think we're going to walk over to Wirt for the first time, because Wirt sells the highest level items in the game. And we're going to see what he has for sale.
Oh.
And don't worry, I'm not going to reload the game over and over again to grind for gear. At least not yet. We're not at that point of desperation yet. Hey, what have you got? A Sword of Gore. Okay, so that totally wasn't worth coming over here for.
A wasted trip.
Basically. Because I'm already doing enough damage to kill everything.
Oh well, go kill things then. I'm sure everything will be fine.
Well, there was that 1,000 gold helm that I'm going to buy in the shop just to refresh it, to see if another helm spawns in place.
Oh.
I know, the first episode of a difficulty change is always a boring
what
one.
can I do for you?
A garnet sword? Okay, well that's not useful. Sadly, resistance weapons aren't going to be useful anymore.
It updated instantly,
Yep. Yeah, because he just keeps like a giant warehouse of shit in stock and just like only brings out certain stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Display items are the only items currently for sale, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just gonna ignore that. And I guess I've got a jade shield there for resistances. Amber mail. He has obsidian mail for sale, and I'd love to have that for those all magic levels, but I just don't have the money to buy it right now. So we'll go check Adria once more. Think I need a Scroll of Town portal anyways? No, I've got one. I guess I could buy another one.
I sense a soul
Adria, what do you have for
certain
sale?
answers.
Book of Stone Curse? No. You never have anything good. I'm gonna buy a Scroll of Town portal and then I'll leave you be. And then we gotta drop all of our gold.
Yep. So you have more room to pick more stuff up.
That's right. How much damage do I do with this sword? 41 to 63 and 36 to 53. So we're doing okay damage. Let's see here, I'll drop that, and that, and that, and that.
Why don't you drop it all? Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Then somebody comes along while you're in the dungeon and goes, wow, look at all this gold on the ground.
You know what? That happened to me in a multiplayer game before.
Really?
Yeah.
Somebody stole one of your multiplayer partners stole your gold?
Yep.
Wow.
Because people are unsavory like that.
Well, that's, I guess, a diplomatic way of putting it.
Yeah.
That guy's still laying there bleeding out.
Yeah, wasn't he laying there bleeding out last time?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, this weapon has a higher than normal attack rate. I forgot about that. Very nice. We'll just use this for now, because it doesn't have a very high chance to hit boost. So it'll save the durability on our sword. Until we can find a better sword, which we won't until we get to Hell difficulty. We're stuck with the current equipment we have now until Hell difficulty, basically. Unless we buy it.
Why, you won't randomly find better stuff?
No. I will not.
Well, that's kind of crappy.
It's because there's a bug in the magic drop code for magic items that causes magic items to be dependent on the dungeon level and not the difficulty level.
Oh.
And so even though we might find plate mail on floor 1 here, if I identify it, it'll be like plate mail of like +1 to all attributes.
Plate mail of garbage?
Yeah, plate mail of garbage. Although the gold is dependent on difficulty level, so we'll get better gold drops, we'll get better base item drops, like I could find a suit of plate mail on level 1 here. Not that it would be useful for anything but selling. And also, even though this seems like it's starting off easier, it's because the enemies here, I think, start out at like level 16, and then they exponentially increase in level as you go through Nightmare mode to the point where they're like 10 or 15 levels higher than you. So, that's kind of why these guys seem easier to kill.
Yeah, you're pretty much mowing through them.
Yeah, I suspect that we will be able to complete several dungeon levels just because it's not going to take me long to mow through these guys at all. And that's why I'm using the flail, because the flail is a weapon that I don't really care about. And it's not one that's going to remain useful for much longer anyways. Small axe. Really? Scroll of Resurrect. Another one. Scroll of Identify, those are always useful. Wait, you can tell that we're on Nightmare because now every enemy I kill is dropping like 100 gold.
Yeah.
And so soon enough we're going to be rolling in money. And that's what we're going to use in order to get the equipment we need for Hell.
Well, maybe you'll be able to buy better stuff too, right?
Well, I always can, because the items sold in the store are based on your character level.
Yeah.
Not on difficulty level or anything like that. They're only based on your character level. I also think I get some experience for killing these guys, which I basically would not get experience if this was normal difficulty.
Oh.
Because these guys would be too low level for me to get experience.
Oh, I see.
That being said, because they are like level 16 or something like that, I'm not going to get a lot of experience for killing them. I'm mostly just doing this, like, these first dungeon levels are basically your fundraising effort for the harder difficulties. Because you wouldn't want to run out of potions or something like that. Do I even know Spellatown Portal yet? I do.
As far as I can tell, the only reason you'd need to go back to town from a level like this is if you're unable to pick up any more stuff.
That's basically it, yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to pick up things like a short bow that sell for 25 gold.
Yeah.
But I am going to pick up, like, if a suit of plate mail drops, I'm going to pick that up. Because that'll sell for like a couple thousand. See, Scrolls of Stone Curse don't usually drop on level 1.
Or did you just pick one up?
Yep.
I can more or less see what's going on that little tiny screen, but I can't really read text or anything there.
Okay. Yeah, you're watching it through the monitor there.
Yeah.
Through the recording monitor that we have OBS brought up on my second CRT monitor there. Could actually make that a little bigger for you. Like that. How's that?
Okay, sure, that's a little better.
There. I actually can zoom in, and then you can check and see if you can read that text now.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I have desktop zoom on my Linux machine here, so I can actually zoom in and then lock the zoom rate of a particular thing to make it appear bigger without disrupting any of the other things that I'm doing, such as this recording.
Yeah. Why doesn't everybody use Linux?
It's complicated. So for a distribution like this, I mean, I guess, you know, Linux is niche anyways. Not everybody knows that it exists. Linux tends to work really good on desktop hardware. It tends to have some trouble with Wi-Fi and touchpads for laptops. And most people own a laptop, they don't own a desktop. Although that's less the case these days. Much less the case these days. Like, you know, you're probably... Linux compatibility with a laptop is a lot better than it used to be. And actually, I'm running Linux on 2 different laptops right now. Soon to be 3 different laptops. But another thing is there's a lot of inertia, right? So people, they own software for Windows, and corporations, they make software for Windows, and you can get that software to run on Linux, but it has to run through an emulation layer called Wine, which is what I'm doing right now, actually, for this particular game. And it can be a bit of a pain to set up for certain things. Just drink those. Move that over, move that over, move that over.
See, now you're full. You're gonna have to go back to town.
Yeah, well, I'll go back to town when something else drops. But also, too, like, certain things work perfectly fine. Like, probably gaming-wise, I'd say probably 80% or more of the games you can run on Windows now will run on Linux. That's how good it's gotten. But there's still some games that won't run on Linux, particularly games that make use of anti-cheat, like kernel-level anti-cheat.
Don't know what that is, but okay.
It's basically like a device driver that installs into your system to make sure you're not cheating in a video game.
Oh.
Think of it that way.
What games would have that?
Particularly online competitive games.
Oh. So if you're not really into playing those kinds of things, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, if you're not really into playing those kinds of things, it wouldn't matter. Some MMOs have them too, but not all MMOs, only a few. So, but I don't tend to play MMOs, so that doesn't tend to affect me.
Yeah, I had a look at one once, and I didn't care for the experience because it was just too weird to be going and doing stuff, and then you can see every other player that happens to be in the game at the time, all more or less doing the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah, that was off-putting for you?
Yeah, that was just a little bit off-putting for me, and it also caused me a little confusion because, well, just because it was just too much, right?
Yeah, and then there are going to be certain other types of software that,
yeah, I would rather, if they're going to do that MMO type thing like that, I would rather that they had a mode that would feel more like offline single player.
Yeah.
So that you're the only one that you can see.
Yeah.
And everybody else that's playing, well, you know, like they can choose too whether or not they want to see every other player in the world or just themselves, right?
Yeah. I guess continuing on, though, about software compatibility, so most other pieces of software that you download and run off the internet will probably work on Linux. I've never encountered something that I downloaded that didn't work. And you can even run some weird stuff like programmer utilities and things like that. I can even run like Microsoft's Visual C compiler on Linux through Wine, and that works pretty good. So that's a funny thing. There are a few pieces of productivity software that won't run though, or at least won't run well. They'll run, but they won't run well. So like for example, on Linux, you'll have trouble getting Microsoft Excel running if you are in a workplace which depends on Microsoft Excel, which there are a lot of places that do. And there's LibreOffice, which is the alternative to Microsoft Excel, and you can even run it in Microsoft Excel compatible mode, which makes it extremely compatible. Compatible enough that I actually completed accounting courses at my university using LibreOffice. But it's still not 100% perfect. You still have to work around something every now and then. So, you know, unless you could somehow convince your entire workplace to switch off of Microsoft Excel, a lot of people get stuck on that kind of productivity software too, right?
Yeah.
And then there's just like you know, to install a Windows game, for example, even to do it graphically based, you have to actually get a tool and point and click through a menu in order to install a Windows program instead of just double clicking on the executable. It's a little bit more involved, not that much more involved, but a little bit more involved. Enough so that, you know, it would also deter people. And then finally, I suppose, because Wine is an emulator and things change in the emulator between versions, there are certain games that only work well with certain versions of the emulator. So you'd have to have multiple versions of this emulator installed in order to do that. And I guess I shouldn't call Wine an emulator, because first of all, Wine stands for Wine is not an emulator. And technically it actually isn't. What it is it's an API implementation of the entire Windows API, if for those of you who are technically minded and understand more of what I just said than blah blah technical stuff.
Yeah, like me.
Right, so basically it's an implementation of kernel 32 API and an implementation of like Direct3D and DirectDraw and all of that other stuff, and DirectX. That's basically what it is. All the Windows libraries and a Windows COFF executable loader, or PE executable loader. That's what Wine is. And it maps that into Linux address space, or not just Linux, because it does come out for other operating systems too, like Mac OS can run Wine. BSD systems, if you guys have ever heard of BSD systems, can run Wine. They're good systems, by the way, BSD folks. Just, you know, again, another smaller third-party operating system people might not be aware of. I can't believe we're kind of getting into this, like, technical discussion. I feel like I should just stop before I make my viewers' eyes glaze over.
Yeah, I know. My eyes are starting to glaze over.
I want to keep talking about this, though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you have a pretty unskilled conversation partner in me on that, because my eyes started to glaze over about 3 sentences in.
Well, basically, I guess I'd say, if y'all want to know kind of what else is out there other than Windows, look up the history of computing with regards to Unix and Unix-like systems. You can find a nice documentary on YouTube called AT&T Unix, which was from like the 1960s. And anything that isn't Windows-based, pretty much, this is kind of a broad generalization, and lots of other tiny operating system developers will get mad at me, I'm sure, but basically, anything that isn't Windows-based is going to be Unix-like or Unix-based. And at least anything that anybody uses. And so yeah. Basically, Mac OS, Linux, BSD, they all work in a Unix-like way, and they all work very similarly to each other. In fact, actually, I think technically Mac OS these days is technically FreeBSD, or it was based on FreeBSD at one time. So, yeah. And it's just a different way of computing. It's just a very different way of computing.
Now you're full, so you have to go and offload some stuff.
I do, yeah.
Well, one thing anyway is if all these
What can I do for you?
drops are going to be just crap stuff, you can just go sell them, right?
That's pretty much it, yep. I don't know why I picked up that claymore, probably because I didn't have room for another thing. Have anything to identify yet?
Hello, my
No.
friend. Stay
But we have
a while
another
and
few
listen.
thousand gold pieces. Almost another 15,000 gold pieces.
Wow. It's adding up quick.
Yeah, how much do we got now? 36,000? From like 20 some odd thousand?
Well, that would explain how you are able to get the money to buy some of these pricier items that you come across in the store, right?
Yep. I'm just gonna pick up this gold pile and this gold pile because they're tiny. And then do that. I'll take this one with me. And then, got a scroll of identify, scroll stone curse. I'm gonna drop some of these potions. They'll be useful later. Back down we go. Quickest town trip ever. Actually, I can identify the breastplate now. Fine breastplate. That's actually okay for a level 2 item. Yeah, I guess I'd say architecturally, Windows machines sort of developed out of DOS systems, which is probably fairly obvious to people. And DOS systems were designed as single user systems to run things like word processors and things like that, and other types of software like that. And they actually find their heritage in an earlier system that was made in the 1970s called CP/M, which was made by a company called Digital Research, I want to say they're called, or I can't quite remember the name of them now. And then Unix was obviously made for mainframes and big server systems. You guys might know something of the PDP-11, and if you don't, that's something you should look up, because that's where Unix kind of found its birth, and it's also very historically integrated with the development of something called the C programming language. If you've ever heard me mention that off the cuff before. And basically your Linux is based off a system that was a mainframe in the 60s, and Windows is based off a system that was a single user system in the 80s, which was based off another system that was a single user system in the 70s. That's basically the difference between them, and so they're going to have architectural differences between those systems, and legacy features and legacy heritage and legacy bugs that reflect that structural design choice. And there's also more to it than that too, right? You could talk about operating system kernels and monolithic kernels and other things like that, and I don't know. I just won't get into it here because I think I've already said far more than anybody ever wanted to hear on the subject.
That's right. I can almost hear the snoring from here.
Yeah, I've put everyone to sleep. We'll get 10 views on this fucking video.
And maybe we'll get a lot of views because people will go to sleep with it on right?
But yeah. And I guess too, part of the reason why the single-user systems rose to prominence in the 1980s is because when microcomputers first came out, they couldn't run big, heavy things like complicated things like Unix. So the single-user systems like DOS came along first, tasking single-user systems, and multitasking multi-user systems like Unix and Linux, BSDs, kind of came about on personal computers second. And then, of course, Windows developed multitasking and multi-user capabilities first on top of DOS, and then as its own separate kernel, the NT kernel, because for those of you who don't know, Windows 95, 98, and NT are technically a separate operating system from Windows 95, 98, and ME are technically a separate operating system from Windows NT, Windows 2000, Windows XP. It's just they both use something called the Kernel 32 API for their programming API. So they're code compatible with each other in terms of like dynamic link libraries and executables and things like that, which is why you can, for the most part, run Windows 95 software or Windows 98 software on a modern Windows 10 or Windows 11 machine. Okay, I'm done for real now. Yes, it doesn't take very much focus to go through these things.
Yeah, obviously not.
Yeah.
You're just mowing everything down in your path there.
Yeah. And then Linux was invented in the 90s by a guy named Linus Torvalds as an free implementation of Unix for PC systems. That's pretty much all you got to say about that. You guys can read up on that if you want to. I'll save from reciting the entire history of that. It's really hard not to recite the entire history of that. The temptation is there.
What did you just do there? Did you just read a book or something?
Yeah, I picked up a book of healing and then I read it. Scroll of Identify. See, there's all these scrolls of healing, but I really don't need them. Oh, excuse you.
Yeah. Big supper tonight.
I see. I'm gonna pick up that, Scroll of Identify. I blocked an exploding barrel, damn it. That whole room was exploding barrels.
Yeah.
Literally, it's still exploding barrels.
Well, it seems like there are more barrels that explode than barrels that don't explode in this game.
Yeah, well, they tend to get stuck together in clumps, right? I'm not sure what the spawn chance is on barrels that explode versus barrels that don't. You know what is odd, though, is we haven't found a shrine yet, and I brought up the shrine list just for this playthrough.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure I had the shrine list available. I haven't had to use it. Now I gotta walk all the way down the other end of the level.
Well, maybe you'll start seeing more shrines on the next level.
Oh, I went the wrong way. Reading the map wrong. There's a chest there that I missed, though, with 217 gold pieces in it. See, they drop gold like this, and you can see why you get rich really quick. That Scroll of Mana Shield will sell for 1,000 gold, or 600 gold, or something. I'd say probably once we get to, like, level 5 is when the game will start to be challenging again. Just the first 4 levels are going to be routine, and it's going to be kind of the same story on Hell difficulty. The first 4 levels are going to be routine. That is a boss, so we'll switch to our sword. I actually had to hit that boss 3 times. And if I do something like 40 to 60 damage, he had a lot of hit points.
Too much baggage.
A Book of Charged Dolt, as a friend of mine would call it. Do we know that spell? No?
Well...
Well, you know what? It would recover my mana if I learn it, so I guess I should just learn it anyways.
Yeah. It costs you nothing to learn something new.
Actually, I could have probably sold it for 250 gold.
Yeah, I know, but that's peanuts right now. Maybe way back in the very beginning, the very first level of the very first playthrough, it might have meant something, but now...
Well, it might mean something now, too, because we need to micro-optimize all of the purchases that we need to make for Hell difficulty. That's basically what we're looking towards here, is how can I survive Hell difficulty? And the answer is, right now, I can't.
Well, it's easy. Take your minigun with you.
Okay. Let's just kill the butcher. This is the stock way that you're supposed to kill the butcher as a warrior. Just like that.
Spirits of the dead are now avenged.
That mace isn't going to be hardly worth picking up, but we'll pick it up anyways because we can sell it. And I should actually zoom out you on your screen at some point so that you can see the recording timestamp there.
Yeah, well, you can do that anytime when you're not busy.
What's that? Potion of full healing?
Because we do want to keep the episode to a manageable size.
That's right. And I have no idea how much my big computing rant slowed me down.
Well, you went on for quite some time.
Oh. I love talking about computing and computers and programming.
Yeah, it's your passion.
It's my thing.
Yeah.
And every time I talk to somebody about it, their eyes glaze over.
Yeah.
Hell, when I talk to people about it in the same profession, their eyes glaze over.
Yeah. Well, from what you told me of your experience when you were younger in university and so on, it seems that mostly what they're teaching people how to do is use existing tools.
That's right, yep.
Whereas you are the kind of guy who makes your own tools.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I took all the super-duper low-level programming courses and things like that when I was there, and I learned how these things work, and I know how to write a compiler, and I know how to do this and that. And, you know, I just really was interested in knowing how to build these things. But I don't know if there's necessarily much of an industry for that kind of thing outside of embedded computing and things like that.
Well, unless you're going to build your own operating system or something, right?
That's right, basically. Or your own programming language and compiler tool chain and other things like that. Like, it's just... It's not the kind of thing that...
OS Rec v5x?
Yeah, OS Rec v5x, there you go. Don't laugh, I've actually thought about making my own Linux distribution. So that actually might be a thing.
There's a piece of jewelry that dropped there. I heard it.
Jewelry, or was it this armor?
Oh, maybe it was that armor.
Because I heard it too, and it was lower pitched.
I can't carry anymore.
We actually need to go back to town again.
You need to reorganize your shit so that you can pick up that armor.
I mean, we're just going to sell it anyways.
Yeah, I know, but still, why have to make 2 trips?
True. And I can identify it while I'm here. I can identify that mace, too. Blue mace. Drop that. We'll take that great axe with us, and now we've got a town trip. We manufactured for ourselves a town trip.
Just stockpiling those for later, or what?
Yeah, basically. Because I'm not going to need them right now. Why spend the money on them and I don't need them?
Oh well, why don't we check our time here while we're in here?
Good idea.
Town where it's peaceful.
So we'll zoom out here. How are we doing on time? Let me zoom in there for you. Oh, there's my taskbar in the way. 36 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
So we still got plenty of time.
It just seemed longer than it really was when you were talking all that technical stuff.
Oh, I bored you, did I? Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I am so glad that I kept you so non-entertained.
Whoa, what can I do for you?
That fine plate can sell. We ended up getting a blue ring. This blue ring mail can sell, though. That great axe can sell.
What does a blue ring do? Oh, it's a lightning resistance
That's right.
thing.
It's lightning resistance. The blue mace can sell too, because we won't be able to use it in this difficulty. Yeah, we've got a blue ring and another blue ring. We have 2 blue rings.
Oh.
Actually.
Well, you're really prepared for those lightning critters then.
Yeah, apparently.
You should go talk to Pepin too and get a little free healing while you're here.
I'm sure I don't need it.
Oh, what? It's free, bro.
Yeah, but I have to walk over there. God, you're gonna make me walk over there?
I'm not going to make you do anything.
Ah.
It's just that you're so big on optimization. I mean, that's just an optimization, right?
I could just level up. I'm not gonna level up anytime soon, though. Oh yeah, we gotta sell that mana shield scroll to Adria. How much mana do we got left? 26 and
so you're complaining about walking the short distance to Pepin to get healed, but then you're gonna go all the way over here to sell one lousy scroll for like 200 gold?
To be fair, it's because Pepin doesn't buy scrolls. That's the justification. I have 4 town portal scrolls now. Wow. So buying those town portal scrolls that I did at the beginning of the game was totally worthless. Yeah, sold it for 300. The mana shield scroll. You have a book, firewall. We could get a book of firewall. Could get a book of town portal. I don't think chain lightning would be useful for a warrior.
Yeah, you have to actually be able to cast it.
That's right. But I think I will get the firewall. And I think I will get the town portal. Just because having a little bit more spell casting ability will help. And the more damage my firewall can do, the better. So it does 54 to 90 now, according to the lying spellbook that is always wrong. So now we just need to go pick up that hammer that I have, my reading hammer. My hammer of reading. And now we do still 54 to 90, probably a lower cost. I didn't make note of that. That's lower though, by 3 mana. So it made it cheaper, so if we can cast it more, then it's more efficient. But there's probably also the duration on the firewall is going to be higher, because it's a higher level spell now, it's a level 2 spell. So that's also good. No matter how you look at it, we ended up having a net gain there. Okay, those are all 5,000 piles. Back we go. Back to the hell in which we came. I'm not picking that town portal scroll back up. Wow, that trap actually hit me.
Yep, but you blocked it.
Yeah, with my 98% chance to block. was that? Did I most over? I most over something. Oh, there's a guy there. Maybe I most over him. Thought I had most over something else.
There's another one.
Ah, he's dead now. Only a longbow? I'm not picking that up. That's only worth like 30 some odd gold. I'll pick up the magic rags. Maybe they'll be worth something. You picked up magic rags once and they sold.
Yeah, they were it was totally worth it. I think I got 500 or 600 gold for them.
Probably not this time. Most of the time they're not worth it. Okay, I think that's level 2 completed. Excuse you.
Yeah. I'm so full, and yet I'm still drinking this coffee.
Well, coffee doesn't make you full.
Well, if you're already full, you're trying to add more liquid to a space that's already full.
Oh, look, it's King Leoric.
Oh well, there you go. Just kick the crap out of him, and you should be able to make short work of him.
What a fortunate way to run into him.
Yeah.
Rest well, Leoric.
And he dropped a spiked club.
Yep. That'll probably sell.
Wow, that skeleton's a crappy shot.
These things don't have a lot of health, because I'm using a weapon that is not effective against them,
Yeah.
and I'm still killing them in one hit. But I think they're the weakest of the bat enemies. See, that blink I had to hit 4 times, whereas the fiend I one-shot. Yeah, I have to hit a blink 3 to 4 times with this mace. I have to hit a fiend once.
Did that skeleton actually block your shot?
No, I had to hit him twice.
Oh.
They're starting to get more hit points now. It's not going to be immediately apparent, but the enemies are getting tougher now. We'll go and pick up that small shield in the middle of combat here. You can see I've been hit a few times now, too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to switch to the sword here.
Gonna switch to the rags?
No, just to the sword. If I switch to the rags, I get the piss shot out of me, man. And see, he's already a reasonably good shot. I've had to block a couple of times.
Why aren't you just killing them then?
Because I was killing the melee enemies.
Oh.
Do we know phasing at all? Yes, we do.
What does that do?
Teleports me in a random direction.
Oh.
Ah, rip.
Heh.
Ah, I want to go through the wall.
Why do you want to go through the wall?
Just to demonstrate it, people. Well, I went through this wall. That was not useful. Maybe I can go through this
So
wall.
it actually is a random direction.
There! We went through the doorway by teleporting.
Oh. Was that the place you were trying to go?
Yeah, I changed places that I was trying to go to after giving up on that other one.
Oh.
And it is a completely random direction teleport.
Yeah.
That doesn't cost a lot of mana.
I would hope not, since it's completely random and you have no control over how it works.
But if you were looking to run down to through the dungeon levels relatively quickly, it's actually still quicker most of the time to try to randomly teleport through the walls and find the stairs down than it is to go through and kill everything that gets in your way. Because even if these enemies aren't a threat to you, they will eventually barricade you to the point where you have to fight them. And that sucks. So now we'll open that door. We only traversed one room with that teleport. So, and we'll drink our 2 mana potions there. Now we've got enough to cast a town portal again. And I guess I'll switch over to something that is more useful. See, I do a bit more damage with this sword than I do with that mace. So I'm gonna go back to one-shotting these guys a whole bunch again anyways. That's a short paddle bow. Magic short paddle bow. Nice. But I do like 41 to 63 with this sword, which is pretty good. No drops. I think the trap chest fire arrow bug still exists too, so that's still a thing. We could still just get randomly one-shot by that.
Well, you probably want to avoid that. You found a field plate.
Yeah, now I have to go back to town. Again. Sadly, that field plate is not going to be anywhere useful as our field plate. Because, it's dropped on level 3, which means it will be crap. Because that's just how this works. We are at 48,000, or 48 out of 54 for next level, for the first 2 digits of the next level now. So we have gained a little experience.
What can I do for you?
Oh yeah, I gotta identify all this crap. Including those rags, which will probably be
Hello,
nothing.
my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Red shield, blade of the jaguar, bow of the mind. None of that crap is useful.
Well, what can I do for
So
you?
we'll sell rags of health. See, they're not even going to sell for the price that it took to identify them.
Yeah. I don't even remember what kind of rags those were that I got, but I guess I must have lucked out and got the best possible
You did, yeah.
magical thing for it, eh?
Blade of the jaguar, that's almost 5,000 gold. Red small shield, that's only like 200. Club of the bat, that's like 2,000. So that's another few thousand
What
gold.
can I do for you?
That obsidian mail is still there, still eyeing me.
Got enough money to buy it now?
I don't know. I'm gonna go and check and see. Because if we encounter a triple magic level, like we did the last time, it would be very useful to have something like that.
What does obsidian mail do anyway?
Plus 39% resist all.
Ooh. Yeah, that sounds to me like something you need to have.
Especially because we don't really have resistance rings.
Well, what can I do for you?
So that would basically take care of all of my resistance needs.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So yeah, I guess I'll buy it. Obsidian mail. Resist all 39%. And then he comes back with a shield of structure, which is a totally useless item. But yeah, so now we can sell our amber mail, which is AC 20. But we're not using these for AC, right? Like when I equip this, and then if I had like another resist all item, I would have max resistances. Just by wearing 2 items.
Oh.
So that's why you want to keep that kind of thing around, in case I run into lots of spellcasters later. Well, I do, I have a Jade Shield, so what happens if I double that with the Jade Shield? 60% resist all for 2 items.
Wow.
Yeah. So, as we saw on the other difficulty, it will be useful, and I can sell this amber mail now,
What can I do for you?
because 2 armor class is not going to make a difference on this difficulty. It just does not matter. And now that we're getting shot, I guess I'll go talk to Pepin.
What ails you, my friend?
Now you'll have to start building your gold up all over again.
Well, I do still have like 18,000 left-ish. Just about. 16,000. So that's fine. But I thought that was a key purchase. Because you do encounter those all spellcaster levels sometimes. And plus, since we still haven't found another good resistance ring, we're kind of beholden to that kind of thing right now. And I've got these hit point rings on, which I'm really dependent on. And apparently a Amulet of the Zodiac boosting my stats. Huh. I didn't know I had that. I guess I still do. So now we can go back, and I'm going to be using a Scroll of Town portal next time. I guess it is what it is. Oh, yeah, I need to pick up my flail again. Where did I put that? There it is. And we'll switch back to the flail for a while. Actually, no, we won't. We'll go back to the sword again here. We're getting to the point where we got to start to use the sword more and more already. Although not on these guys. Yeah, I think skeleton captains have the most, or skeleton captain type enemies. So corpse captains, burning dead captains, horror captains. They have more hit points than a regular skeleton. I guess that's supposed to emulate the fact that they have a shield. That's just a regular falchion. That won't sell for hardly anything. Get the chest. Kill that guy. And we're just blazing through these levels.
Yeah. Yeah, you haven't met much resistance so far, and when it's this easy, I guess, it's pretty easy to cruise through quickly.
But now I'm taking damage, and now I am getting hit, so we can tell that things are getting harder. And that's kind of how this is going to go. The difficulty's just going to sneak up on you until it hits you like a truck. You've got to be careful not to get lulled into a false sense of security with how easy this is. Because then you'll die on the later levels if you try to play the same way as I am right now. Something of chain lightning? Was that a scroll of chain lightning? Yeah, and I can't use it. Whatever. It'll sell for like 50 gold. Scroll of Flame Wave? Sure. We're picking up all the useless crap today.
Yep.
Can I cast Flame Wave? I can't. 54 magic for the magic requirement on that, I think. And my base magic is 20-something.
Your base magic is you can't cast that spell.
That's right. My base magic is I can't cast that spell. Yet.
I thought you said you didn't like Flame Wave that much, though.
I don't. It's not a useful spell. Firewall is better. Now this is King Leoric's skeleton pack.
Yeah.
That we found him at the front at.
Wow, there's a ton of them.
Yep, and we're going to take a lot of damage here.
Yeah, you might even have to use healing potions.
I will, but that's why we have all those other healing potions back in town. It is what it is. And thankfully our block chance is saving us on a lot of damage here.
Yep, he's just sticking that shield out in front of him and then off to the side and then fancy over the shoulder on his back and...
That's right.
Yeah, just keep that shield moving and it stops everything.
Yeah, he's just whirling it about like he's Captain America or something, right?
Yeah. Wow, that's quite the herd of bats that you've got going on there, too.
Yeah, and they're the tougher kind, so we gotta use the sword. There we go. That takes care of all the bats. There's still that one guy shooting at me. I suppose. I mean, I guess either he is or he isn't, but I suppose he's shooting at me.
Yeah, he just wasn't hitting you very much.
Do we have a ring of sorcery? Sure.
What is that?
Charge bolt. So totally useless. Long battle bows sell for a bit of money. What else is in here? Another gold pile. Scroll of infravision. Some gold pieces. We can cast that Scroll of Infravision. That's why it went into our belt. Healing potion. I think I'm going to do this. Double cast the Scroll of Infravision. We can see that there's nothing behind here, or else I'd see it through the wall. Although I think barrels protect enemies from infravision.
Do they?
Yeah, you can't see an enemy in a barrel.
Oh, so you can see an enemy... Oh, inside a barrel, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can see them through a wall.
Yeah.
Like that guy there.
Yep.
But I can't see him through a barrel. Like inside a barrel. Like that guy. We didn't know he was there. Even though we saw all enemies in the area. Barrels must be just made of lead or something, right?
Yeah, lead-lined.
Yep, lead-lined barrels. Totally safe to drink from, don't worry about it.
Hey, look at how long they made plumbing out of lead pipe.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know.
Until they figured out that it made people go durr by the time they were 45, right?
I don't know how toxic lead pipe actually was in the water system.
Well, there must be a reason why they're not using it anymore.
I don't know. I mean, they must have evaluated it at some point and found that it was like trace toxic and like not enough to hurt anybody or something, and that's why they were using it.
Yeah.
There has to be something like that, because a lot of these things, like, yeah, okay, it's made of a harmful substance, but is anybody actually dying from it? Kind of thing? I guess it'd kind of be like asbestos in buildings.
Yeah, exactly. At one time, people thought that asbestos in buildings was okay, and now it's taboo, right?
Yeah. Although there's nothing wrong with asbestos in buildings as far as I understand it, as long as you don't disturb the asbestos.
Yeah, but as soon as you start tearing the drywall out or something like that to do renovations or whatever, well then
that's
suddenly,
when it becomes
a problem, right?
And you need to wear a mask for that.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm sure once you're done the renovations, it's perfectly fine.
Yep. Well,
I mean, it's not like fiberglass doesn't fuck up your lungs either, right? Fiberglass particles will fuck up your lungs. They just won't cause cancer. Well, maybe they will, actually.
Actually, you know what fiberglass is made out of, right?
No.
It's made out of sand.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, can sand inhalation cause cancer?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, but
it'll fuck up your lungs.
It can cause silicosis.
Yeah,
right?
So... You know,
which is probably just as bad.
Well, it's just toxic in a different way.
Yeah. And the main problem with that is when you're grinding the sand to make it into other things, that's when you get particles that are smaller than what can even be stopped by a particulate mask and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually worked in that industry, and so you would have had those kinds of problems.
For many years. But the thing is, though, they had enough precautions in there, and even some of the guys that I worked with who'd been there a lot longer than me, they were fine. They used to send us for chest x-rays every year just to make sure we were okay.
Yep.
But we were always okay. There was never a problem. And that's because you didn't just stand there in the middle of the dust cloud and breathe in deeply,
just
unprotected,
inhaling
right?
it as hard as you can.
Know, like you tried to limit your exposure, and if you couldn't, if you had to be in an area where potential exposure was in, well, then you wore a respirator, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, like they even installed dust collection systems, like super high-speed, high-horsepower fans.
Yep.
To create air circulation in the processing areas and suck all of the dust out, and then it would suck the dust through what's called a bag house, which is basically a great big outdoor filter, right?
Yep.
And then like the air, then like the filtered air would be discharged out into the atmosphere, right?
Bad news, we have Black Death. Good news, we're a lot better at killing them now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with this mace in tow, I don't think that the Black Death will get anywhere near us.
Yeah.
But I do have to repair it now.
But that's why there was a lot of move to try and replace sand as a coatings tool, right? like as a blastings abrasive to remove rust and paint and that kind of thing from surfaces before you painted them. It's because, you know, like when you shoot sand at an extremely high speed at a solid object, well, a lot of the particles, the sand particles will fracture into smaller particles, right?
Yep.
And so sand blasters, like guys who, you know, did sand blasting and painting of things for a living, like oil rigs and, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, they had a high risk of exposure to respirable free silica as well, right?
Yep.
But what are you going to replace it with? I mean, the company I worked for sold all sorts of different types of mineral slag and stuff like that too, like aluminum oxide and coal slag and that kind of thing. And it's like, well,
it all kind of has the same risk.
How's that any better?
Yeah. Yeah, it all has kind of the same risk, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, to this day, like I haven't worked for that company since trying to remember now, about 2007 or 8, I guess.
A long time.
Or 2005 or something. Anyway, it's been a long time. It's been like close to 20 years since I actually worked at that company. But as far as I know, they're still operating and doing fine to this day, because there hasn't been anything out there that is a viable replacement, and you still have to, you know, like paint things.
Yep.
And you can't just spray the paint on right over top of all the rust and stuff like that. And even some of the chemical strippers that they could use as a substitute for sandblasting,
they're hazardous.
Well, they're hazardous too in their own way, right?
Yeah, if it can strip paint, then it's hazardous.
Yeah. You're running away from the guys that are shooting bows at you?
Well, that's a big long hallway, and I want to kind of clear out this way before I go down that big long hallway, or else I'll be walking back down that hallway. Although I guess I have to walk back down the hallway anyways, because the staircase to the next level is down here.
Yeah.
But whatever.
But anyway, a lot of like sandblasting outfits, like they equip their sandblasters with supplied air hoods and masks and that kind of thing, like positive pressure equipment.
Yep.
So not only do they have filters on their masks, but they also get supplied fresh air, which creates a pressure inside the equipment so that they don't get exposed to the dust that they create, right?
Yep. I'm just trying to route myself in such a way that I can do nothing but constantly attack at these Black Death.
Yeah.
They want to get near me so that I don't have to take a hit from them.
They should have called them the Yellow Death, because they're like kind of yellowish green.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be plague colored. I think that's the idea.
They're the yellowish green death.
They're plague flavored. Plague flavored zombie. Go ask for that at your local fast food place or convenience store. Plague flavored zombie.
That reminds me, when we started the Risk series the other night, and I was looking at the trivia. Yep. They had Plants vs. Zombies Risk too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, because they've got something like several dozen different versions of Risk too, right?
Yep.
Like over the decades since it first was invented, like in 1957 or something, right?
That's right. Yep. I know you and I have played Lord of the Rings Risk back when the Lord of the Rings movies were still coming out.
Yep.
That was pretty fun. It was fun to play Risk on a different map.
Yeah, and there's actually 2 or 3 versions of that too, because apparently they came out with one that had a relatively small map, and then
one that was like the whole world.
And then they came out with another one that had a much expanded map. But
yeah, and also too, like you could play the classic rules on that, but you could also play like the Middle Earth rules on that, because they had special rules for that, where you'd like have to move the ring about and things like that.
Yep, that's right.
Too much
Well, the
baggage.
whole thing, instead of destroying all of your enemies, you basically had a point system. And after each player's turn, the ring would move a little bit closer to Mount Doom, right?
Yep.
Like one space closer to Mount Doom kind of thing. And then the game would end when the ring actually reached Mount Doom. And whoever had the most points, which was a combination of territories held and armies on the board and card values of any cards you had in your hand, I think. That it was basically whoever had the most points would win the game, right? Rather than, having to destroy every other player on the board.
Although you could still destroy every other player on the board.
You could play the standard rules if you didn't
You could
want
also destroy everybody before the ring reaches Mount Mordor. That would also still work.
That's true too, yeah. But although, anybody that has
Mount Doom, yeah.
Anybody that has even half an idea of what they're doing, though, I mean, that's going to be difficult
to just do that.
To do that before the ring reaches the end of the cycle anyway.
That's right, yeah. But that was fun. That was a fun version of that game.
Yeah, it was actually. It was a different rule set, and it gave you a different way to play the game, right?
That might be why all these versions of Risk are so popular, right? Kind of like versions of Monopoly. How many versions of Monopoly do they got now?
Yeah.
Although I think the Risk thing is a little more versatile, personally. Just because, like, in personal opinion, because you get such a very different map.
Yeah.
And that alone is...
Yeah, well, Monopoly, I would imagine, probably still uses the same 12 spaces per side?
Yeah, I think so.
On the board? Or is it 11 spaces per side?
Maybe
or
it's
something?
11.
I can't remember now, but I think if you roll... No, it's 10 spaces per side. I think if you're sitting on one corner space, if you roll double sixes,
yep,
you'll end up 2 spaces past the next corner, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically 40 spaces on the board, right?
But you're a much bigger Monopoly mogul than I am.
Well, I used to play Monopoly a lot too, because even when I couldn't find people to play Monopoly with, I had a Super Nintendo version of Monopoly.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, you could get AI players to play with you, right?
Yeah, I used to play that one too, actually. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. And actually, I could even get my wife to play that one once in a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
I sense a soul
Books.
in search of answers.
Firewall again. Learn some more Firewall. Sure, we'll learn some more Firewall. Not enough... Oh, because I went and dropped all my gold.
Yeah, you gotta go pick up all your gold again.
What they need is like a banking system for
Yeah,
this
really,
fucking small town.
You can go and just drop all your gold off with Bob the banker, and then...
He can give me a letter of credit.
Yeah, and then you can just go around and, spend whatever currency you needed. And draw on your account, right?
Yep.
Wow, that would have been a great idea. Why didn't they do that?
They did that in Daggerfall.
Did they?
In the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall,
so that was from about this era, or not too long before.
Not
or
too
even
long
a little
before.
bit before, right?
Yeah, a little bit before, I think.
So they had the ability to do something like that, probably.
Although, to be fair, Daggerfall was a much more complicated game from, I think, what was at the time a bigger studio, whereas this game was made by like 4 guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Daggerfall was also made for DOS, whereas this was made for the brand new Windows system that had come out, Windows 95.
Well, anyway.
Back when Windows 95 was brand new, guys.
I found this game to be, at the time when I first started to play it, I found it to be a very refreshing update to, like the kind of like the gold box games. And
yeah,
that
the
kind of thing.
dungeoneering type of thing.
Yeah. Because the gold box games first came out kind of in the late 1980s, right?
Yep.
In fact, the first versions of the like Pool of Radiance and stuff like that I had were on the Commodore 64, actually.
The big thing about this game is it's real-time action, right?
Yeah.
That's the twist.
Whereas the Pool of Radiance games were turn-based. They were still pretty good, though.
Well, they still hold up as turn-based games, even if they don't necessarily have the best graphics or the best sound, because, the core gameplay loop is the same after all these years.
That being said, even though you're working with sprites, you still could customize your character's avatar quite a bit.
That's right.
Kind of thing, right?
You can't really do that in this game. This game lacks a lot of that character customization because they probably couldn't have this degree of graphical fidelity.
Yeah, because if you wanted to create a character that used a two-handed sword or a two-handed axe or something like that, well, they had like model customizations where you could show your avatar actually wielding a two-handed sword or a two-handed axe, right?
And you could even modify their sprite at the guild too.
Well, you could make
if you switch weapons.
Yeah, you could make different colors for your outfit and all that kind of stuff too, right?
Yeah, those games are still very fun just for what they are. And
well, and the coolest thing about them, I don't know, I don't remember with the PC game. I think you could transfer your characters that finished the first game into the second game, and then from the second game to the third game, and so on, right?
Although you actually own the Commodore version of those games.
You could do that in the Commodore versions too.
Because the Commodore is keeping up with you.
Yeah, you could. You could actually.
Are you guys going to come through the fucking door?
No, they're trying to get you into a position where one of them can hit you and take away a point of your health forever.
Like, damn. That was some next level AI from this game from 1996.
Yeah.
Okay, I bet you this way is going to be a dead end.
But yeah, and you know what? The way that they were able to reproduce a lot of the spells, like the area effect spells and stuff like that, was very, very cool too. That game, the thing that made that game the best was that it was actually pretty accurate to the original pen and paper game.
Yeah, very loyal to the rules.
Yeah. And while I did play the Dark Alliance games a few years later, I don't really know how those games were compared to the official rules, because I never played that version of the game,
Yeah, well, the thing about it, though, too, is those were made more as like a real-time hack-and-slash thing, kind of inspired by, well, not necessarily Diablo, but Diablo 2.
Yeah, by this was probably the precursor to those, right?
That's right. Well, it was kind of like Diablo came out, and then Diablo 2 came out, and then everybody else released a game that was like Diablo. So you had Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, you had Champions of Norath, you had a couple of other games that were kind of along those lines.
Actually, the Champions games are very similar to the Dark Alliance games, actually.
Oh, there was Untold Legends. That's another one. That was one that was on the PSP that I kind of had for a while.
Yeah, I never saw that one, because I never had a PSP.
Yeah, I was a PSP guy, because talking about all that computer stuff, you can hack a PSP, and you can make it play emulators.
Oh god, here we go again. Is this going to be another rabbit hole?
No, we're not going to talk about that, although I have 2 hacked PSPs, and they're all loaded with emulators.
I see now you're actually having to make a tactical retreat.
Well, I just don't want to deal with that Black Death that's out there among all those archers.
Oh.
Because if I'm, like, blocking and I can't kill him...
Oh, well. Looks like he's going to make it to you eventually.
Yeah, well, the thing about him is he's kind of slow, right?
Yeah.
So we're just exercising a bit of caution with him. And now we can go out there and do our thing.
So, after this level, do you have any more of those guys, or is this the last of them?
They can spawn on level 5 as well.
Why on level 3 and then not level 4 and then level 5? Like, why?
Well, we're on level 4 right now.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah, I know. You didn't even catch that transition. That's how fast this is going.
Yeah. I haven't been keeping track.
Yeah, they can spawn on level 3, level 4, and level 5. And then they can't spawn on level 6, even though these stupid archers continue to spawn on level 6.
Yeah. See, what I'm thinking is that after we finish this, we should do Champions of Norath.
I'd love to.
Because I liked Champions of Norath, actually. I liked it better than Dark Alliance, because they weren't... It was a little bit more options available, because they weren't trying to stick to a...
particular game rule.
Game rule,
There we go. We'll just kill that guy.
And you had some pretty decent, like in the Dark Alliance games, you didn't have a lot of character customization options either, right?
Yep.
Like you basically chose your character and class, and it was like one character. Like if you chose the dwarf, he was the fighter, and if you chose the elf, it was the magic user, and there was one other one, an archer, like a archer/thief subclass too, right?
The human archer, and then in the second game there was also they expanded it out, so then you had like the dwarven rogue or the human
I like the
barbarian.
dwarven rogue the best actually.
Everybody
'Cause
likes the dwarven rogue.
Well, you know why? Because of the explosives, right?
Ah,
You know, I love that. He goes, heh, 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 and you plant that that explosive smoke powder satchel, and then your enemies run over it and die.
yep. I guess it's the personality of the character.
Yeah, that's what it was. I like that. I like that particular persona, right?
Ah,
It was because it was fun, and it made me laugh, and it was the kind of character that I used to play in the pen and paper games anyway, right? I'd rather use guile and trickery and booby traps to destroy my enemies than face them face to face, right?
well, I'm still boring. I play a warrior in every game.
Take heed and
In every
bear
game.
witness to the truths that lie herein.
Oh, blah 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 lore, blah blah blah.
There is a war that rages on even
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
On the fields that we know.
So I don't know. I mean, in the second Dark Alliance game, that dwarven rogue just struck a chord with me. I liked that character. That was my favorite one.
Yep.
And it has raged and burned longer
But yeah, I always liked
stars in the skies.
everything that was warrior-like.
Yeah. Whereas in Dark Alliance 1, those three characters were more like stereotypical choices for what their classes were and stuff too, right?
Yes, although there were some other odd
'Cause there was
things
the dwarven tank and the elven mage and the human archer kind of thing, right?
yeah,
You
but
know?
there were some odd things in that one too, like the elven mage could equip plate mail and a shield and the onyx sword, and so you know you have your elven mage, but your elven mage can do close combat. The only thing she's really lacking is hit points and I guess special abilities, but the special abilities didn't start to get really exaggerated in those kinds of games until, say, the Champions of Narath games. And it's the exaggeration that created more specialization.
Yeah.
Which I think is strange, because, you know, this game didn't have exaggerated special abilities in it. It has warrior swings weapon, right? But the reason why the warrior can swing weapons better than the other classes is because he can swing them faster,
Yeah.
right? And that's basically what differentiates the classes, is they're just less effective with certain gear, right? And I guess realistically, that's kind of what the D&D type of system with class restrictions on weapons and equipment would be going after, right? Because, you know, yeah, okay, maybe technically, if you want to be real, and let's be, like, completely realistic, there's nothing stopping a fucking Dungeons and Dragons mage from trying to pick up a two-handed sword, but is he really going to know how to use that thing?
No, because he's going to be a scrawny little wimp, and he isn't going to be able to even pick it up.
Well, and even if he wasn't a scrawny little wimp, even if he had 18 strength, does he have the martial training to know how to strike with that weapon with blade alignment?
No, they did lots of
edge
writing,
alignment?
like lots of writing in the rule books and stuff to justify
why
the archetypes were the way they were, and the mage is more likely to spend his time studying books and learning spells and all that kind of stuff, whereas the warrior isn't going to necessarily even learn much more than basic reading and writing because he's too busy learning how to stick pointy end into bad guy, right?
And not only that, but that was actually something that was written in this game's manual too.
Yeah.
They actually used the exact same justification, pretty much verbatim, for why the classes are as different as they are. Right? And so I just thought that was really good. I thought that was really...
Well, when you think about it, though, really, this entire genre of games, going all the way back, to the 1970s, you can thank Gary Gygax for it even existing, right?
Yep. I've got a lot of useless crap in my inventory now.
Yeah, you should sell all that useless crap.
Whoa, what can I do for you?
We have random ring mail. Random long battle bow. That Ring of Zest can go because my Ring of the Wolf is better. What else do we got? We've got a Sword of Might. That can go.
What can I do for you?
Amulet of the Mind. That can go because I've got a Amulet of the Zodiac, which is better. Just like that, we've got another 15,000 gold in our inventory, and I can sell this thing of dexterity. Why do I have a lot?
You don't want it?
I don't, because I can't actually drink it. My dexterity is maxed at 60.
Oh, so you can't get it to 61 by drinking one of those potions?
I can't.
What a drag.
I know. But we are at 52 out of 54 for a level up, so next episode we're going to level up.
Yeah? So we're going to call it one here, or what?
Yeah, I'm just going to do my bookkeeping here, and then I don't think there's really anything too much. Maybe I'll actually finish the rest of this bookkeeping off camera. All I'm going to do is sell some stuff to Adria here, Town Portal, Scroll of Firewall, sell that. Elixir Dexterity, sell that. I guess we'll stay on here, because we're almost out of bookkeeping anyways.
Because I have to watch the time, because I have another commitment that I have to get to tonight.
Yeah, so you're doing something with Sweater Vest Gamer
Yes,
tonight,
with
aren't
the
you?
Sweater Vest Gamer on his channel.
Yeah. Alright, well, I suppose I'll have to let you off then for tonight. So, what are we doing on time
because
here?
the Sweater Vest Gamer is playing Fallout 4.
Yeah, we're at an hour 20, so it's probably about time to call an episode. We did 4 dungeon levels all the way through,
Yeah.
so I guess we're good. So that's Nightmare difficulty, the start of it. It's easy now, but I guarantee you that level
imagine
5 and level 6 are going to be harder.
Your progress will probably slow here before too long.
That's right. So, I guess, until next time,
I'm Sandman99.
and I'm RecV5. Have a good one.